is going on? Okay, that's not what I'm getting some kind of weird feedback. Okay, but we're now. Okay, but we're now. Huh. Okay, I can't tell whether I am audible or not. Things that I thought should be working are not working the way I expected. What? So you should be like that. Main mix should be going through. Ignore me whilst I fix this. What I could do with is another pair of headphones. Why can't... So I can hear that this way. And you're supposed to be muted, but... You actually need all 3, 4. Let me do that. Okay. Okay. This is the wonderful world of looping and looping. Why is that happening? I can hear myself. Oh, I think that's the problem. Properties. Let's do that. Main mic. There we are. Main mic is that. Front facing. Main mic. If I unmute, then we are back to... So at some point something decided to reconfigure the mic. That... Right, so if I do...
When I saw you, I would lose control. Made me feel like there was no tomorrow. Should've told you that you're beautiful, but the days pass and now it's so long ago.
Well. That took way too long to figure out what the hell was going on with my audio. It's annoying that it's very difficult to debug these things unless you're actually on the stream doing something live. Nice. because locally it sounds fine. But it turned out that the wrong mic was configured. Nah, it is what it is. I might as well continue now that I'm this far in. Let me just set my screen up and then hopefully I can share some stuff. Let's do this. So we're CADing. We're CADing. Oh, the chat is not. Let's get rid of all of those sorts of things. YouTube chat, go to YouTube chat. Get rid of the third. I don't know why none of that is working, but whatever. Whatever. I will try and keep an eye on the chat. Should anyone wander in. Right. Let's see. What am I working on right now? Still this rotary axis thing. I think I've decided I'm going to laser this whole structure in layers. Mostly because my experience with the rotary bed that I now have in place, that I 3D printed the initial brackets. 3D printing the brackets took something like 4 hours, and laser cutting the brackets took about 4 minutes. So that's what I currently have set up. What I've realized I want to do though is, because this block is going to be made up of a bunch of layers stuck together, I'm going to want to put some basically some holes through this that I can use to line everything up. So that is what I'm just going to quickly do right now. Yes, so what I want to do then, I guess, is sketch on this surface. That'll do, and just put a couple of, let's say, 6mm maybe? 6mm holes is probably fine. And let's just create a pattern. No, not a circular pattern. A rectangular pattern, please. It doesn't need to be anything particularly special. Just let's select an object. Will come like that. It will come like that. I don't think we need 3x3, but let's do 2x2. And that should just be sufficient then that we can poke a hole through all of these layers like that. And then whatever we cut out, we'll be able to bolt together. So let's flip back to manufacturing. This is a new interface, well, partly a new interface for Fusion. It confused me a little bit that there are now these tabs. So they've hidden laser cutting underneath a tab that wasn't previously the case. Right, first of all, let's do this setup. So I just want to edit this line, kill that chain. In fact, I had picked it up anyway. So this profile will just get rid of the sketch view. You don't need. There we are. So this will just cut out these holes. So these are the holes mounting for the stepper motor. These will be for aligning the layers. This is a line for the shaft to come out of behind the chuck. And in theory, this is has all been laid out so that when I have a GT2 belt pulley thingy printed on the end of the shaft here and a 15mm thing on the shaft here, that my 220mm belt will fit tightly. That's the plan. What I should be able to do is laser this layer quickly and basically double check that before I kind of commit to lasering a bunch of other layers. But let's just do the same set of operations to these two jobs here. So this one, if I do that, there we go, regen. So basically this block is going to be made up of either this pattern where we have a hole big enough for a bearing, or it's going to be made up of this pattern. Let me just see if I can regenerate like that, whether it's going to pick up. Oh, it does need me to edit first. Fair enough. Oh, right, because of course I'm doing this in weird ways. So even though these circles in terms of the model aren't actually on the same plane, because in the model that's further down, because we're dealing with a laser, it doesn't matter. It's just going to work its way around those as if they're the same plane. So what that means is I can cut some of these and some of these and stack them together in theory to create like little bearing cavities and hold things together. And then with this last panel to connect the motor, we should be in a place to stick everything together. And I'm kind of assuming that when the motor is on here and the chuck is hanging out the front here on this shaft, that we will have enough mass. I don't really have to worry about holding this down. Now it's possible that I will need to make some adjustments to that, but if necessary, I'll just stick the whole thing to a platform. So that, let me output that. Key 40, let's do rotary axis. Check. So the bed rotary axis is working fantastically, I will say. Yeah, that's what I wanted to get. So, but it would be interesting to have something that can handle smaller diameter things as well. Post. So you are the you're the main plate. Let's call you the motor plate, and then we'll post you as well. Post, you are the main block bearing, and then this will be main block shaft. Right, and I'll probably cut it out of, I've got some sort of 4mm ply, which cuts quite nicely on the laser, given a couple of goes round. Just wondering if it's worth chamfering any of these corners or edges, but I think that'll be fine. I think that'll be fine. Cool. Okay, so that's that one. What I could do with now then is just a flip across to something else. Oh, I guess since we're talking about rotary axis and I do have a moment, let me just get rid of that. There we are. I will say the normal rotary bed. Let me do this. So I'm really happy with how this came out on the laser. I'm particularly happy with, so it basically starts, or I guess the pattern starts here and ends here, and there's ever so slightly an overlap of those two. Oh, it's too shiny. There's a little bit of a horizontal overlap between those two markers, but that was pretty perfectly laid out. I think I was very happy with how that functioned. I wasn't certain that the K40 Whisperer software wouldn't freak out at a pattern that was slightly longer than it thinks the Y-axis bed is, but it's obviously handles that for the rotary axis. And it turned out that these water bottle things, their perimeter circumference is basically 230 mil, and that's very close to the normal size of the Y-axis bed, so I didn't bother to adjust the scaling factor. Worked like a charm. And that design, should you be watching and in any way interested, that design came out of this whole mess. Let's do for the non-geeks, you may not recognize. This is Gallifreyan from Doctor Who, or at least it's one of several fan-created structures for Gallifreyan, which is a circle-based language. This one is called Doctor's Cot, which I quite like as a system. It's basically done phonetically, so you basically figure out what all of the parts of your word are in terms of the International Phonetic Alphabet, and then there's like a lookup chart that dictates certain rules about what you should do with basically inner circles and outer circles, and yeah, that was the finished pattern. It just it says in theory Daniel Wold DevOps, so that's going to work this week, where it will sit proudly on my desk and thoroughly declare me as a geek. Right. So the other thing I've been toying with as a project is one of these key kind of hard case key holdery things. I currently have like a leather pouch that they go in. When I held them without that, the keys just shred my pockets, which is annoying. But now I have a cool little pocket multi-tool as well, and I kind of like the idea of just having it fixed. And I basically carry 4 keys, so I spent a little bit of time earlier modeling the 4 keys I have, 2 of this style and 2 of this style, and I was just thinking about how I would lay them out to maybe design a casing for them. So the thing that's particularly, again, slightly weird is these keys have this triangular hole. I was sort of possibly tempted to just drill another hole through them and like cut and shape this to make it more convenient, but I'm somewhat tempted to do this design so that I don't hack the keys up. So what I might actually do is create like a little 3D printed insert for this triangle that has a circular hole in it that a shaft can go through, just to make it a bit neater. And so yeah, I'm just thinking about what kind of an exterior shape I would want. So I was playing with this pill shape, but not sure that well, obviously that's too big anyway, but what I'm trying to figure out is whether I would do the pivot point here would probably be quite centered on the body. I'm just wondering whether I create this at an angle so that is also essentially centered on the main mass, or if I just accept that that's off to one side, because that is a thing that's off to one side on the key. What I should probably do is think about what is the maximum shaft size I could get in here. So if I come off of that midpoint, in fact, let me do some construction lines. So 45 degrees, there we are. So I don't know if that means that I'm going to be completely central, but so it's 4.2. Oh, I tell you what, it's a much better way to do this. I'll just do a 3-point circle. So if I grab that edge and that edge, no, that's not going to do it. For some reason I thought that was going to work. Basically it looks like 5 mil is what I'm going to be talking about. Let's try a 2-point circle. go on that edge. Oh no, that's a center diameter circle. That's why I said 2 point, please. 2 point. So I want an edge there and an edge there. Oh, except I don't want it to be a construction. And I've just also realized that if I am going to put a 3D printed insert in there, I probably can't have it touching the sides, and I also need it to be oh, sound and a static picture. Why is there a static picture? I can see a picture. This is going to drive me crazy. Hey, Philip. I'm all right. Oh, it's working now. Thank goodness for that. I've been having lots of trouble with the streaming software. I think YouTube have changed their whole deal I say recently, since the last time I was doing much streaming. OBS keeps updating in ways that make it not work with my graphics card. It's been kind of annoying. Anyway, glad things are working. I'm good, thank you. Been busy. I put out a video today of a project I was quite happy with. I made a silly modified joystick for an Oculus Rift controller for a friend at work. That was pretty good fun to do. Quite happy with how that came out. What are you guys working on today? Right, whilst I'm thinking about this, I'm gonna use that as about the midpoint, but I reckon 4 mil maybe is about as far as I can go. Oh, and don't make you a construction line. I want, not a construction line, a real line. Yes, so I kind of want to, let's make that 5, a new body. Is it 5? Actually, I tell you what, let's go all the way through like that. I wonder if I could get away with, right, new body, and let's move you. Why is that over there? So what I'm thinking is I can say 3D print this, and it will act as both the shaft guide, and if I put a ridge around this center line, it will also act as a separator, except no, that can't be right. It can't be the same piece, obviously, duh, because I'm not going to rotate them both at the same time. So yeah, that's a stupid idea. But I can do that. So I'll basically print one for each key. Yeah, that makes sense. So that will be a teeny tiny piece of plastic, and depending on how well I've modeled my key, I guess I might have to refine it a bit, but it's a small thing. But that does then mean I can have one post here and one post here, and I'm thinking of just maybe even a 3D printed center section. So I think ultimately I'll make a wooden outer side to it, but I think I could probably get away with there being a 3D printed interior. Trying to make a walking stick that doesn't make you look like a grandpa. Wow. Yeah, that's walking stick is a tricky thing. Like, I think something to do with obviously canes look pretty cool, but they're not so functional in terms of actually providing support. It's a challenge. I'm sure you could do some really interesting carving on a walking stick, though. It's definitely something I've thought about doing. Something like just for the sheer artifact of it. It's a thing you carry with you or have with you. Right. What am I doing? So if that's 1.7 mil, so I can probably have a 1.5 mil wall that separates the keys from each other, which would kind of work. I'm just trying to think. So if I assume, let's create another sketch, and yeah, let's I guess this surface is fine. What I want is another construction line between the center of this circle. Come on. Oh, except of course you're right, yeah. You don't think of yourself as a circle because that circle isn't on that sketch plane. Okay, let's just align that down and see if that works. Finish sketch. Align you with that surface. And now let's try a sketch and see if it will give me construction line. Come on, don't mess around. Will it pick up the center of this circle? Is it too much to ask that I be able to pick up the centers of circles from things? That's annoying me. Okay, I guess let me just do it by eye. Oh, in fact, wait, did you? I feel like that is a center. That is showing a center. Can I pick up on that? Oh, is it because I'm? Wait, why is it showing me the back side of a thing? That is so weird. Yes, this thing. That's what I want. I'm sure there's a way that I've forgotten to be like, select the thing. Yes, but I appreciate that you have unfortunately a functional need for one. I'm just wondering whether you can make it kind of what you can do to make it more interesting. What is that? No. This is going to annoy me because I feel like this should be just a thing that works. It normally works if your sketch is regular. Let's right for now. I'm just gonna do that by eye and see what happens. Yeah, that is not at all the center of that circle, is it? Let me move it. That looks more like it. Let's assume that that is the center line of the thing that we want to create. Okay, and then I'm going to create a slot which is center to center. So to get all of that in, if that is centered, I end up, I think, with too big of a thing. Like I don't want it to look like that. Let's take that off. Yeah, so I do think this one is gonna have to be in the top corner of whatever I do over here. That is the thinking, right? So let's try doing this instead. I'll just like pick up on what is broadly the center of that. So if I do So a pattern like that instead. That comes way further out than it needs to on this side. Oh, it's in Discord. Let me have a look at that. Wow. So this is the holy cow. Let me open that. Open original. Bring that over. That would definitely be quite the statement. So this is a metal core with a I guess is this a 3D printed exterior or a carved? It would certainly be a conversation piece. I like it. Let me close that out. Over there. Oh, in fact, there we are. Let me. Interesting. That looks cool. That is. Oh, wow. Pull carbon fiber through and then pour epoxy in to make it stronger. Holy cow. That sounds like quite the project. I think that will be, that's definitely one to watch. I'm fascinated to see how I come up with that. That looks like it could be really interesting. I guess it's going to challenge some techniques there. Let me just, whilst I'm here, I need to think about what is the, so that'd be 27. Let me just check. How big is this thing going to end up being in my pocket? 27. Ooh, that. I mean, I guess ultimately it is kind of as big as the key itself. Yeah, okay. 27, we can do something with that. So what I think I'll do is let me create, let's say an arc. We're gonna come maybe here and here. Just put a shallower arc in there, and I think we'll do the same thing on this side. I don't think I need. So if I do something like that, and then if I, in fact, 3-point arc, let's do it again. I think you obviously need to be able to get to the key a little bit. Actually, let's do 3-point arc. Let me put an arc that's more like this, right? And then another one on the other side that will come. Oh no, possible. Come here. Arc, 3-point arc. So another one from here, which will be similar. Let's see, what does that shape look like if I do that? You know what, let's just extrude it. We'll make it, 3mm will be fine. Let's make it a new body. So, I'm just gonna smooth out some of these corners. I'm just envisaging this as wood with whoa, no, like that. Let's copy that across just to see. So let's see, you're going to want, you need a little bit of space on each side of each key for some kind of a washer, but that would be broadly what it looks like, with a shaft through there and a shaft through there. And then I can create, so I was thinking about joining these two with a wall in the middle, which would make it, from a 3D printing point of view, I could 3D print something like that, but I don't know. I don't know about from a wood standpoint. Maybe I don't need a wall in the middle. Like, it doesn't really matter if the keys hit each other. I guess the tricky part is going to be, I want them to kind of stay shut in there. They want a little bit of tension. A little bit of tension. So what I might do though is, if I come back, let's project. Let me go. What am I doing? Create sketch on here. Project some features. So what I want to do is turn off that for a second. Yeah, that's what I want. Come on, where's the thing? Turn that one off. Right, yeah, you I want like that, and you I want like that. Good. So that's like that. If I turn you back on, and then we can drop a hole through you. So I could try just 3D printing that outer shell and create, how about using a spring washer between the two keys to keep them inside? A spring washer between the two keys. I do not think I understand what that is. It sounds like a possible idea. I'll have to look up what a spring washer looks like in order to understand exactly what you're suggesting. I suppose yeah, there could be some interesting possibilities here. But if I 3D print one of these and I 3D print one of these, or two of these, I think I could probably play with whether or not that is broadly going to be the right kind of shape and just like how that layout feels. That seems like a good thing to set going, because it shouldn't take too long to do that. And then I can, let's go Google Drive, CAD models, key holder. Let's call it that. Let's say side, and let's have one of you. If I'm lucky, I'll get this at least geared up. Key insert in the next. Right, a wave washer. You're giving me homework here. I'm going to have to look up what these things are. I understand some of these words, but I can't visualize how that would work. But if I get the two main pieces, then I can play with layout and see how that goes. A little bump on the inner surface. Oh, Yeah, no, that's an interesting idea. Just so that if I map out where on the key the actual ridges are, you're right. Just like a little bump might actually be enough to give it a desire to hold. I still need to think about the difference between, like, I can 3D print to play with, but I think the final thing I want to be actually a wooden, or at least wooden sided. So I need to think a little bit about how that is gonna work out. Let's have both of you. Whoop. Why the hell did that? Hello, there we are, thank you. Let's have a couple of those. A couple of those. And let's it can be fast. I think we want brim because those tiny things are otherwise gonna be all over the place. There's no way they're gonna hold on. And slice. And then I can set that going, and then I can go put dinner in the oven, which is about right. There we are. That seems like they'll all hold together. Oh, interesting. That's very... that sort of indicates how tiny those things are going to be. Well, let's give it a shot. Let's see what it looks like. That is enough fun and games for me on this fine Sunday. Thank you for joining me. I'm sorry that it was a complete debacle of audio at the beginning, but I think I've finally figured out how to get things to work properly again. So who knows? I might try and get back into the habit of doing this on a Sunday, if I can. Right, that's good. I'm gonna send that to. Where are we? No, I need to do this. I'm going to end the stream, set up the 3D printer. Hopefully you guys have had some good stuff, gotten on with your own projects and such. Thank you for sharing your design, Philip, for the walking stick. I'm fascinated to hear how you get on with that. Do drop it into the Discord as you make progress. Yeah, I'll have to give myself some thought on how I would even remotely try to attempt to realize that design. It looks cool. Right. Thank you very much, and maybe see you next week.